So, I'm on my way to work right now, and I feel inspired to share some wisdom, some thoughts here on how do you say explaining and showing some of the levels and ways in which the spiritual war is happening. This holy time-space war here. So, here on Earth we got dark forces, light forces, and all kinds of stuff. Blah 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 blah. Now, what I really want to speak on and focus here, I'm just going to get right to it. So, we as people, we as humans, we have our subconscious mind, the critical mind, and the conscious mind. We are born with the subconscious mind just open, so open, and we are highly impressionable when we are young, when we are children. Then, right around the age of 7 all the way to about 11, 12 years old, we start to develop the critical mind. Then the critical mind becomes this threshold barrier that divides our subconscious mind that had been open and very impressionable since birth with the conscious mind, who we like, our conscious personality, our ego. So everybody is suggestible. Everybody has a suggestibility. There are 3 suggestibility types, and by suggestibility types, I am talking how there are 3 ways in which people take in suggestions. There are the emotionals, the physicals, and the somnambulances. Now, an emotional suggestible type takes their suggestions indirectly through inference. A physical suggestible takes in suggestions directly. And there's a whole lot more that goes into all this. This is really deep stuff. So then the somnambulants are the most suggestible. They are the most impressionable people. They take in their suggestions really, they're the ideal candidate to use in stage hypnotists, for stage hypnotism. When a stage hypnotist is picking someone from the crowd on who they're gonna use as their guinea pig, they try to spot out the somnambulants because you can get them into state quickly and easily. So now I'm gonna talk about how most people, if not everybody, are out here in the world walking in a hyper suggestible state without even realizing it, without even knowing. One of my roles and responsibilities as a trained hypnotist, creating my own practice, is to be able to recognize and spot out when clients coming in, rather, instead of needing to be hypnotized, need to be dehypnotized. They are coming in to my office already hypnotized and highly suggestible to their own subconscious mind and their own thoughts. Now, there are a myriad of different ways on how to perceive this, and the truth is multifaceted on what all this means. There are many layers, and through all these layers, there's a thin thread of puppet string manipulation and energy that is interwoven and runs in this physical matrix that we're in this inverted, perverted, Masonic, satanic matrix that we're in. So a lot of people are hypnotized to their own mind, thoughts, emotions, and outer world impressions, and what they see, what they hear, which is why it's really important to, make conscious choice of what you're allowing to feed yourself, feed your mind, feed your thoughts, feed your emotional body, your spirituality. What type of perception and outlook and ways of wording and communicating to yourself are you having, because it's all really important. Now, a common thing that we all experience here in this day and age of our, modern day society is, we listen to music, we watch entertainment. Oh, come on, you guys. Fucking a-holes. LA, man. Well, technically I'm in the valley, but still LA County. Traffic sucks regardless. Now, I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Working a lot. So, oh man. Fucking pendejos. Pinche pendejos. So then, as I was saying, there are a lot of different things that in our day and age that affect our states of mind, our literal physiological brain waves and frequencies, and also heart frequencies. And in this perverted matrix that we are in, this hologram that we're in, constantly fed, this inverted reality of perceptions and thoughts. We're walking around really programmed into this reality that is very limiting, false, and sick. So now, sorry, I'm a little faded. I smoked some CBD before I head to work. CBD, THC, it's good shit, man. Good shit. I love CBD and smoking weed. Yep. Anyways, so I'm gonna touch on all this a lot more, and preferably I would like to write it all out. I feel like I'm more grounded when I'm writing versus driving and speaking in a video. When I write, I just flow, man. I just channel, I just flow. But when I have to speak, my critical mind and my ego gets in the way of my presentation. So it's just, I don't know. something that I have to work on and get over. Which is why I admire a lot of my galactic comrades and friends and fellow content creators who, you know, they've done that work to get over that block that I have in terms of channeling and sharing messages. So what I really am trying to get to is explain how this works every day, how this entity, this demonic force is operating, a way of perceiving how it's operating, and how we're all vulnerable, and to understand what's happening to the masses in terms of the great Dreamspell. That's what I'm getting into, is that there's is being able to perceive the mechanisms of the Dreamspell and the many different ways it is casted and kept fed and alive, you know, because when you do spell work, when you're working on your magic and intentions, you know, you can do just a one-time spell and be like, boom, all right, let it go, and it may or may not happen. But if you didn't know, the more you repeat the spell and the more different little rituals of intention you put in towards the initial spell, the more charged and alive you're keeping it. You're allowing it to grow and become, so that way your magic is, you know, powerful and actually happens. So getting into the Dreamspell, states of mind, being hypnotized. So here we go. I'm definitely gonna have to make a part 2 because I'm like about to get to work. I'm about to pull up. Yeah, approximately 15 minutes to get to work. Pulling up to work. Yeah. Now, as I was saying, there's a great dream spell happening. And did you know that when your blood sugar drops, if you have blood sugar issues, or just whenever your blood sugar, you know, drops, whether you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, or have thyroid problems, or just super healthy, doesn't matter. If your blood sugar drops, and if you have blood sugar problems, if you're hypoglycemic, when that happens, when that drop happens, it has a big effect on your state of mind. You become more prone to being put in a trance, or being in a trance state. And what happens if your blood sugar drops and you're in a trance state, and then your stressors are triggered because of just life in this world? Your reptilian brain is constantly triggered by the world, by stimulation of fight, flight, you know, freeze, your survival. And then you're constantly being fed inverted, stupid fucking programs of how to perceive, think, and feel in your reality matrix. And then whatever is just going on in your personal life, when you have that recipe going on day to day, and you're in that trance state, and let's say you're driving and your blood sugar is dropping, because when we drive, we get into state really quick. If you ever, driven home from work, and next thing you know, you're in home and you're like, wow, I was totally not even present the entire time I left work and drove home, and now I'm home. Whoa, that's your subconscious mind behind the wheel driving. So your conscious mind, you go into state. So when these things are happening, and let's say the radio is on, and you hear a commercial, you hear an ad in the radio, and it suggests some type of disease out there, mesothelioma or car accident, some shit like that, and you don't even need to be consciously, actively listening to whatever it is, but your subconscious is. This has an effect on how your reality can be, potentially created. This is just one example. But let's say you're really stressed, and in this recipe of being hyper suggestible, let's say you're really stressed after long days of work, and now you're having car problems, and rent is due, and at the same time, you had to pay for a lot of dental work because your teeth hurt, you got to pull out your wisdom teeth, so you're in this pain. So you got all this stuff happen, and then if you're not actively working on how you're choosing to perceive and live in your reality, and go into victim mode, and allow this stress and this fear and anxiety to be blown out of control, then it adds into the solidification and hyper accelerated manifestation of however you are beginning to formulate your story and perception of your life. Because a way too common thing that happens is when things start to happen and there's a snowball effect of a lot of stress and pressure. We all know, maybe we've even done it ourselves. I've done it in my life growing up. We've all done this, and it's we'd be like, why me? Why is this happening to me? Nothing ever goes my way. I'm never gonna get ahead financially, blah 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 blah. Then you're speaking affirmations, if you end up saying it out loud or even in your thought, then this is what's happening. And the subconscious mind is unconditional. The cells in your body are unconditional. They don't know what's good and they don't know what's bad. It doesn't matter what, either way, it's going to respond, mirror, and form into the blueprint of what the story is, of what the conversation is, of what the emotions are. And we get into the hormones and peptides and all this stuff, and then you become hardwired and physiologically addicted to your bullshit, sad, and quite frankly, false story. It's true to you. It's everyone's perception and experience is true to a certain level of extent, depending on how much you're willing to open and expand yourself to grow, to realize greater truths, the divine, spirit, your power, who the fuck you are, and have the courage to be in charge of that shit, honing into your magic, honing into being in this fucking war as a warrior and a conscious co-creator fucking out here. It's not easy. I get it, which is why no judgment for what happens, because we're all just all lost children, all lost children of the divine, of God, of creation. We've fallen from grace, and we are here with amnesia in this dream spell here. So this is just the introduction of what I am going to be breaking down even more and presenting. Later we'll go into dark channelers, dark light language, and very advanced dark wizards, dark magicians, dark spellcasters. So a lot of folks in, you know, the spiritual disclosure communities, we all understand the term channeling. We all understand clairvoyance and messages, right? And there's so many YouTubers and people out there who've been doing this for decades of channeling the Pleiades, channeling and all that stuff. All right, okay, you know, that's fucking awesome. And you know what else? There's that same ability happening in the dark, in the shadows, channeling entities, channeling demons, you know, which some would say were actually aliens, frequencies, communicating and teaching dark people who chose to be in the, you know, a dark warrior, on how to create these spells and cast them, and, you know, pretty much kind of like, that's it. That's all I'm going to say for now. Peace.